As 1981 had been designated by the United Nations as the International Year of Disabled Persons, Pierre Trudeau decided to have a special committee of 7 parliamentarians who would do a report on problems that disabled persons in Canada had. I wanted to do is sort of personalize it as much as possible. So what we did was we identified a dozen persons with different disabilities from across the country, both physical and also mental disabilities. And I talked some people from a couple of top ad agencies to donate a lot of their time to photograph what the lives of these people were like and to listen to them tell their stories and then get down the script as to what life was like for them. We divided up into 2 camps and went all across the country. We heard over 600 witnesses. And then we did a report called Obstacles. In other words, it was all about the obstacles that these people had in their lives. This lady here, Joan Green, she had rheumatoid arthritis. She just lived in a bed. She couldn't walk, she couldn't do anything. And her temperature was 3 or 4 degrees above normal all the time. She'd just never known anything but that. This was an Aboriginal from Pelly Crossing, a village in the Yukon. You know, and he couldn't walk, and you're living in a village in the Yukon, and how do you deal with it? We had other people, a couple of people who'd been paraplegics and quadriplegics from accidents. Some people who were mentally disabled but could talk quite frankly and candidly about their problems. And because we put all these photos in it and told the story, like, all of a sudden it really caught on and there was a lot of interest in it. Well, it was just a number of weeks later that the first draft of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms came out. In Clause 15, it reads as follows: every individual has the right to the equal protection and equal benefit of the law without discrimination, and in particular, without discrimination based on race, national or ethnic origin, color, religion, sex, or age. And it ended there. No reference to physical or mental disability. I was quite troubled by this, and I had 3 other government members who had the same viewpoint, and so we started having these caucuses of government members on the charter. And at the first or second one, I got up and said, we've got to change this and include physical or mental disability. Well, I'd given that speech, or some version of it, about 5 times in the caucuses over a period of several months. And I still hadn't been successful, and we used to meet in the West Block then, and I was walking back to the center block of the Parliament buildings, and all of a sudden I feel this arm around me. And it was Alan J. McEachern, who was a real patriarch and a gentleman, an MIT graduate, a brilliant man. He said, David, you know, you may be a little discouraged, but don't you give up. This is a matter of principle. This is a matter of conviction. This is what we're all about. You keep going. So about 2 weeks later, we had another meeting, and I was the second or third speaker, and they were listening to me for the 6th or 7th time. And I got up, and I'd spoken for about 2 minutes. And Pierre Trudeau stood up, and he said, David, we don't have to listen to your speech again. We're putting it in. I just broke down, and I still, 30 years later, choke up when I think about that, because, you know, I've held public office in some form for over 20 years in different chapters. But that was the single most significant, meaningful thing that I did in my political career. And so, that clause now reads, and in particular, without discrimination based on race, national or ethnic origin, color, religion, sex, age, or mental or physical disability. So thank goodness for that. Sometimes when you're in public life, you wonder, you make a difference. I still get asked to speak at conferences of disabled organizations and that, and they want to hear these stories, and that was a great day. Thanks.